I'm going to give you 5 seconds to mentally compute the product of the following numbers. Ready? Go. In one study, participants were asked to compute the product of the numbers 1 through 8, either as this or reversed like this. And the results? Peculiar. Because they didn't have enough time to actually solve the problem, participants had to make an estimate after their first few multiplications. The median estimate for the first group, starting with the small numbers, was 512. When the sequence started with the larger numbers, the median was 2,250. Correct answer is 40,320. Why did this happen? We can blame a phenomenon called the anchoring bias. Just like an anchor on a large ship is meant to keep it from moving too far out of place, our brains are also hardwired to rely too heavily on initial pieces of information to help us make subsequent decisions. We then start making small adjustments based on our additional information, but we usually do gravitate closer back to that original anchoring information. Our brains are made to compare and find relationships among various pieces of information, most likely for the efficiency of it and to reduce cognitive load, stress on the brain. So how long we expect to live is heavily influenced by how long our parents or grandparents lived. How much television or video games that we let our kids watch is linked to how much I was allowed to watch as a child. The anchoring effect can even influence a doctor's ability to accurately diagnose illnesses from a patient's symptoms. As one patient expresses the same symptoms as a previous patient, the doctor concludes that they have the exact same cause, which could be true in a lot of cases, but sometimes it may not be. Once we buy a product at a particular price, we become anchored to that price, like a large pizza, a gallon of gas, new shoes, a smartphone. Initial prices aren't anchors in themselves, but they become anchors when we consider the price we'd be willing to pay for that product or service. In the marketplace, what consumers are willing to pay determines market prices, but it's also true that what we are willing to pay can also be manipulated. In general, because the anchoring bias and other factors, most people don't have a good handle on their own preferences and the prices that we are willing to pay for goods and services. Our brains are sometimes tricked when we see advertised prices, promotions, or product introductions. To this day, I still recall the price of a gallon of gas when I was in high school was $1.26. And I think, why can't gas be that cheap anymore? According to the professionals, here are some ways to outsmart our anchoring bias. First, acknowledge the bias. Let me give you a little G.I. Joe wisdom. They've always said knowing is half the battle, and you know what? They were right.
Now I know, and knowing is half the battle.
G.I. Joe!
Just being aware of the anchoring bias helps us avoid prejudiced judgment. Delay your decision making, seek additional information, and take your time. Compare all the different aspects of the decision or deals before you make a judgment. Next up, drop your own anchor, matey. Drop your own anchor means research average sale prices for the car model you're interested in, and use this anchor instead of what the store tries to get you to believe. These are all ways that we can combat the anchoring bias that is in our brains. It's sometimes a good thing and sometimes can cause us a little bit of a headache. If you found some value in this video, please click the like button below and please consider subscribing. And as always, thanks for watching.